Hello everybody, this is Roger with Roger's Reviews, and I'm just going to briefly go over stranded investments equals these assets turn into liabilities because they're stranded. They used to be assets and now they're liabilities. And what I'm talking about is basically the OEMs, the old automobile manufacturers like Ford and Chevy, Chrysler, Toyota, everybody that's making ICE cars. These ICE cars and trucks are dated. They had spent billions and billions of dollars on basically building up these facilities, and now all the plants are outdated. They're obsolete, but they have all this money invested in them, and they're still building nice cars. And it's going to get to the point this year, next year, where it's actually cheaper for Tesla to build electric cars, and the powertrain's cheaper. So basically what happens, before it was a little bit more expensive to build electric cars and you'd make up for it on the end, but now it's going to be cheaper to build them and sell them. So basically when you go to buy a car, you're going to be, SOL, because if you buy a gas car, you're basically going to be spending more money than an EV, and you're definitely going to save more money in the long run. So it's going to basically make all these old manufacturers obsolete, and once people stop buying these gas cars, they're not going to have enough money, because basically all these billions of dollars, they're going to have to basically take all those old manufacturing facilities and just shut them down and trash them, and just they're not going to be worth it. There's going to be more money to dispose of them than just walk away, and it's going to be too much money to retrofit. And because the factories are totally different now, you have to start clean from scratch. It's too hard to take an old factory and rejuvenate it and make a new factory. It's just too expensive. It's easier to start from scratch. So all the Ford, Chevy, all these Toyota, they're all going to go out of business. Also too, Tesla can make EVs cheaper than anybody else because the technology and the battery technology. So what's going to happen is, even if these manufacturers, they start to sell EVs, they're going to lose money on every EV they sell. So basically what's going to happen is they're going to try to keep selling gas cars. The gas car market's going to die, and then when they start trying to sell EVs, they're going to have to make them cheaper than like Teslas, and they're going to lose $7,000 or $8,000 per EV. And then when they start trying to build gigafactories and battery factories, they're going to have to spend so much money because they're so behind, and they don't even have the new technology. So even if they try to go green and try selling EVs and try to start building factories, basically they're just going to throw good money after bad, and it's just going to put them out of business even faster. So basically there's no hope. The only hope is basically throw everything away, and then buy stuff from Tesla, like buy their battery packs or buy their skateboard. The only thing they can do is basically put their Ford or Chevy cab on top. Other than that, they're going to go out of business, and I think they're going to go out of business anyway. Another thing Tesla can do, if they really want to put the nail in the coffin faster, Tesla can actually sell EVs cheaper because they have the new technology. And if they wanted to, they could even sell them at a loss, because on the back end, what they can do is they're charging $8,000 for their software, which is pure profit. So they could actually sell them at cost or below cost, and they're already building them cheaper than everybody else. So they could actually sell them, like, say everyone else has to charge $40,000 and they're still losing money. Tesla could come up and underneath them and say sell them for like under 40 or like 38 or 35, or they could basically sell them for under cost and just make up the money with the software. And another thing they're doing too is, none of these companies are selling enough EVs, so there's a huge fine they have to pay at the end of the year. So what's going to happen is Tesla's been selling these credits to these other companies. So these other companies are giving Tesla hundreds of millions of dollars for their credits so they don't get fined at the end of the year. So what Tesla does, they take those hundreds of millions of dollars and they basically use those to build more factories, or basically they put it in their bank account and they can actually offset their expenses, so they can take that money and discount their cars even more. So basically their competitors are paying Tesla to discount their cars even more, so they could use those hundreds of millions of dollars and sell their cars even cheaper. Either way, either invest money in their factories or use it to bring down the cost to put their competitors out of business. So Ford, Chevy, Chrysler, Toyota are giving Tesla money to put them out of business. So they're done. I mean, they don't have a chance in hell. As far as like the gas and oil rigs, all these hundreds of millions and billions of dollars that are made, they build all these offshore oil rigs, which is super expensive. All these processing plants and all the shipment of oil, all the containers, all the fuel tanks, the drill rigs, the fracking equipment, the refineries, all that stuff is going to be outdated and it's not going to be used. They're not even going to have the money to keep it up because everybody's going to stop using oil. And as soon as there's a certain percentage that it's not going to be profitable anymore. So the cost of oil is going to go down and it's not even going to be worth processing. So at some point it's going to get to the end where everybody's going to go out of business and it's not going to be worth it to process anymore. So they're just going to have to shut everything down. So it doesn't have to be, like 100%. It could be 10 or 15%, and it's just going to ruin the market. And barrels of oil in the stock market are going to go so cheap, it's not even going to be worth it for any of this. And it's going to happen very quickly because it's happening not only in the EV market, it's also happening in the utilities market, because the utilities are the same way. The utility systems, a lot of people are going solar, and these utility companies, they pay out so much in profit sharing, and they have to pay this huge overhead and all these people to go out and fix the infrastructure. Well, there's so many people signing up for solar and getting battery packs, and they're dropping off like flies. So what's happening is they're having to take all this loss of income, and they're having to put it on the existing customers. And the existing customers, when they see their prices go 5, 10, 20% up or more, it's going to make them think and force them to go solar. And then they're going to have to take that loss and put it on the existing customers. It's just going to go up and up. It's going to basically force anybody that can afford to go solar to go solar. And once more people go solar and battery, the prices are going to come down because the more solar panels they produce and the more batteries they produce, it's going to scale up, and it's going to make everything cheaper, because the more you make and the more mass production you have, the cheaper it gets. It's economies of scale. It's happened now. It's just happening in the EV market. Now it's going to happen in the solar and battery market too, because they're using the same battery technology to reduce the battery's cost in the power walls. So also too, like the peaker plants and all these systems that keep the utilities going when the peaks, like they have these big factories and these big generators that kick on and off to keep the demand up, to supply the demand. Well, now they're having these big battery systems controlled by computers that meet the demand and save the utility or the big companies money, and basically instead of buying energy from these big peaker plants, the cities and organizations that basically supply power, they're buying big battery banks and computer operated, and it's saving towns and basically cities millions and millions of dollars. So everybody's switching to that too. So basically this whole network is going to put pressure on the oil and coal industry, and then also too, it's putting pressure on all these old manufacturers. Just everything's being outdated and everything's obsolete. So when it starts off slow, and then pretty soon after a few years, it's just going to collapse on itself. So anyway, I just wanted to show you with these stranded investments and assets, they turned it into liabilities. So right now it's just the start of it. It's just the tip of the iceberg, but it's going to be like a domino effect. It's going to be like a snowball. Within you'd be surprised what happens in the next few years, because it only takes a small amount, and once it starts snowballing, all these companies are going to go bankrupt. So invest in companies with new technology that are changing the world, because those are the companies that are going to, you know, expand exponentially, and a lot of people are going to be made wealthy by these companies like Tesla and all these, even the lithium and battery supply companies and technology companies. So anyway, if you like this video, please crush the like button, and we'll bring you more like it to give you some insight on what to invest in the future and what to watch out for. So don't buy a gas car, because like Elon said, if you buy a gas car now, it's going to be like buying a horse. It's not going to be worth its weight. You're going to have to pay someone to take it away in a few years, because nobody's going to want it. Have a great day.